All right, this is Hap Super, circa 1990 something. Keep that sound in mind, right? It's got a little bit more leeway than a lot of other sticks. This feeling though is what I associate with arcades. Although usually the ones in arcades are a little bit looser, but that might be from like years and years of use. And then this is an Industrious Lorenzo, and how am I gonna do this? I can't do it one-handed, but it doesn't have that boing. Like, there's no way to make it boing. Here, this is the boing I'm talking about. Hold on. Boing, 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 boing. Okay, yes. The boing is not a good thing necessarily, because sometimes you're crouching down, you release it, and your character jumps, like Street Fighter, right? You crouch down, you release it, and it jumps. But in the arcades, that's what would happen. So that's like the feeling I'm used to. And this doesn't have that. It doesn't have that boing. And I think this is why it's got, like, I'm not going to open up the Hap because I'm not taking apart my control panel. But the actuator on that is round. The actuator on this is square. And the micro switches don't have the like metal thing, so the actuator itself is touching the micro switches like on a Japanese or Korean stick. Yeah, so that's different. Like I bought this to replace the stick on one of my controllers with this, and I don't like the feeling. And I think the stock stick it has is better. I don't know why people swear by this. It does not feel like the Haps from the 90s. At least, like, none of the Haps I have seen. Or the X Arcade. Okay, here we have the Arcade 1-Up stick. The only mods it has is it has a heavier spring. And it has, like, an adapter to make it higher. This also does not have the boing, obviously. So yeah, it's very clicky. Oh, actually, it also has what you call it, octagon gate, because I couldn't stand the square thing. It's like tick 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 tick. I don't like the feeling of that. And this is the stock stick on the Legends Gamer. So that's my Legends Gamer over here. It's got the stock stick. And it actually feels pretty good. It was on this actually that I was going to replace the stick. I think you can tell because of the color scheme. But I don't like the way that Industrious Lorenzo. I actually think, even though the reason I was going to replace it was for the boing, and that stick doesn't have the boing. So this is a little bit loose. It's got, like, I think comes stock with 4-pound springs and octagon gate. Even though it's a little loose, like, I've played actual arcades at the arcades that feel like this. Like, a lot of Street Fighter cabinets feel like this. They just have a little bit more boing to it, but it's got that, because it doesn't feel super loose. Like this, before I put the spring in it, before I put the 4-pound spring, was like hella loose. This monster over here, this is the Twin Blaze. This actually used to be on my main cabinet. This used to be the original control panel before I got the Hanaho Hot Rod. I've just recently replaced the sticks. I mean, not the sticks, sorry, just the ball top. Just because, like, the plastic, so you notice the colors don't really match. Because the plastic it used, I don't know, the feeling on it, it felt very cheap. And like this, it feels a lot better. It's still not the greatest stick though. Like, check this out. So this is what I was saying, like typical console type of feeling. That's what I associate with Japanese sticks. And yes, I've used genuine Sanwas. They still have that feeling. I have a couple of clone Chinese Sanwas, but like, I know they're not actual Sanwas, but I've played on actual Sanwas. I have a couple of pretty good Chinese clones. Unfortunately, I can't like replace the stick on this. It's like not really a Sanwa clone. It's kind of like soldered into the PCB. It's going to be a pain in the ass. It's not a standard like drop-in. But anyway, like this is an X Arcade, but it's been, excuse the messy garage, but it's been modded. These sticks are like what's it called? EG starts, EC starts, whatever. They're like cheap sticks on Amazon. They're very cheap. They're pretty decent. Honestly, again, to me, the micro switches feel pretty bad, but the sticks themselves feel more like the Hap that I have. And the Hap that I have is from the 90s. I don't think it's made in China. But this feels more like the Hap than the Industrious Lorenzo. Because it has like a, I don't know what the word is, like a bigger throw or whatever. And it's got that boing. It's not as boingy, but it still has that boing. And the turns don't feel awkward because it doesn't have that weird square actuator. So I'm gonna flip this over and I'm gonna show you the actuator. So this actuator, this is exactly how the Hap Super that comes in the hot rod that's in my main cabinet is. And it's also square like this. You see how that's like the base is square? That's because this is I used the original, this is the original X Arcade base, and the X Arcade sticks were clones of the one that's in the hot rod, the Super. I just used the shaft. I just used the shaft from the... And here we have the PlayStation stick. Again, this feeling... Alright, obviously this is not a Sanwa or even a Sanwa clone, but it's meant to feel like the Japanese arcades. Because for whatever reason, they didn't mass produce like arcade sticks for console use that are made to mimic the American arcades. I mean, I had one, and like it was given to me by a friend's brother that used like actual Hap parts for my Super Nintendo. But that wasn't something that everybody had. So most people had things like this. Basically, in conclusion, yeah, it's hard to find an American stick that feels exactly like the American arcades. Because the Haps are now different. And the Industrious Lorenzo that are supposed to be the Haps, they don't feel exactly the same. So maybe that's why the Japanese sticks are like the norm now. I don't know. But the fact is, like, so much time has passed that people don't even notice the difference anymore. I mean, they don't even realize that the sticks they were using in the arcades were not like this. At least here in America. It just doesn't feel right.